What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while, but I thought I'd get back into it just because the NBA season started, and hope you enjoy my first video back. Here are some predictions for the new season. Let's get number one out the way. Championship contenders are the Nuggets. Obviously they won last season, and not really any changes to the team. Good core. Jokic probably MVP again. They're just going to win it probably. Have to put the Bucks up there. They got Dame, and their court has always been good these last 3 or 4 seasons. First duo I think in the league to average 30 points plus each last season, and now they're on the same team, so that's going to be even scarier. I'm going to do the Celtics. Now people always have doubts about them or if they're actually good enough, and last season they choked by not showing up when they needed to. They took the Heat to 7 games, and they shouldn't have been losing in that series anyways. But I think this season, if the Bucks don't make it out of the East, they will be the other team to make it out. A team that I'm going to put down there is the Pistons. Now this is a young core, tons of guys drafted in the last 3 or 4 seasons, but I think it's just going to have fun this season. And I'd argue same with the Hornets. Haven't been good. LaMelo's probably stayed at the same level for a few seasons now, and it's just about development with these teams in the lower lottery. I think a team for serious contenders has got to be the Lakers, or maybe in contenders. I'll put them contenders right now, and move the Celtics down 1 as well. But I think just of what their defense was in the second half of last season, and who they've got on the team, LeBron, there's always going to be more media hype. There's going to be the pressure on other teams playing them. So I think there could be a contender this season. So another team I'm putting in contenders is the Warriors. Kind of same reason as the Lakers, but obviously the Warriors can just come out of nowhere and win, as we saw that a couple seasons back. And they've just got Curry. Until he retires, I think they're always a chance no matter what or who plays. I'm also putting 76ers in contenders. I've got an MVP in Embiid. I know people don't like what he's about, the flopping and all the chaos, but I think even with all the changes to their team and James Harden requesting a trade, I think the pieces are good enough to be a contender just for right now. I think the Pacers keep on improving. They've got Bruce Brown from the Nuggets. Still got Miles Turner after all the trade rumors. Halliburton's improving. He's probably one of the most underrated guards, but still he's pretty rated, so I think they can make a play-in spot. Alright, I'm going to do some West teams that I think won't do that good this season. The Rockets still got young guys. They've got Dylan Brooks, who's a hothead, not really a good player. Same with the Spurs, but they do have Wemby, number 1 pick. There's a chance for play-ins just because of the other players getting more touches because of the attention around the team now. But I think at the moment they're maybe for play-in, but they'll be just lottery. They'll just miss out, and Wemby will be a big help to give them more wins. Moving the Suns, I don't think they're as serious just because of maybe the depth, and they have to guarantee that a bunch of the backup players actually overperform like the Heat last season. But I think they're still on the same level as the other 2 teams in the category, and I think they might not surprise people, but they can go far. Another team are moving into the play-ins, the Chicago Bulls. I think they've always been around that spot, and 1 or 2 guys like DeRozan or Levine normally take turns. But I think how the list is sort of stayed the same, around the same few guys, I don't think the overall structure is as good as the other teams above them, but I do think they will be better than Pacers, and they're probably unlucky just to miss out on the other categories. Maybe they're in first round exit. I'll just keep them there for now and see how it plays out. I think another team I'm putting in the lottery, Trail Blazers. A lot of trades happened. Dame went to the Bucks. They got Brogdon from the Celtics. Scoot, they drafted Scoot Henderson. A lot of good promising young players, but you don't know how it works out or how it fits, and some people develop, some people fall off. because of all the new pieces, even though they won't be a good team, I think it will take them a while to get their starting lineup formed and developed. And I think they could make play-in, but lottery, I'm going to put them there for now. Okay, another big team, but from the West this time. I've put the Kings in first round exits. Now, they did lose in the first round last season against the Warriors, and they took them to 7 games, and I think they were like the 3rd seed or something like that. And De'Aaron and Sabonis both made All-Star, and I'm saying and a lot of times, but that's because they can go far, but I think the West is getting stronger and stronger every season. And unless they make a crazy jump, even more bigger than last season, I see them losing to like the Warriors again, or the Lakers, or someone in 7, and they're just going to be unlucky not to go further. Knicks, I think I might move them back to play-in once this whole thing is sorted, but there's just too many ifs about the team. There's always the question of Julius Randle playing good or showing up, and same with the other players on the team. Like last season, they lost to the Heat. Jalen Brunson seemed like the only player who was really at the same level as them. And I think maybe for now I'll move them to play-ins just because they can't get over that first round hump that they get into every season. I've just put the Jazz down, and I've thought about it, and they're missing the play-in just because of how strong the West is. I think there's probably that play-in spot to about the 12th seed where they could all make it, and the records and wins are going to be very close, but I think the Jazz and probably the Thunder just miss out for the West, and they've both got great players. SGA on the Thunder, they've got a young core and they're going to keep improving, and they're most likely the best team from the play-ins of any conference, but they're just going to miss out. East missing out as the Brooklyn Nets, sort of same reason as the Jazz. They've got one guy, Mikal Bridges. They've got a few role players that they've picked up from other teams, and I just don't think it will work out simply for the fact there's not one superstar. And I think in today's league, you need that superstar on your team to drag you all the way through. Now, like I said, with the Thunder, they've got SGA, but I think you need a superstar and a good team around him, and I don't think the Brooklyn Nets are a proper team yet, just because of the new pieces I've added lately. Alright, so I'm going to move the Bulls down and then get another team from the East. I'm going to put the Cavs where they just were, simply for the fact they've got Donovan Mitchell, they've got Darius Garland, they've got some proven guys, and the team keeps on building and building. Now, last season, I think they were unlucky to lose how they did, but I think if everything clicks, they have a better chance than the teams below them, and simply for that fact, I'm going to put them in first round exit. Right, so I've had a look at last season's standings, and I can see that the Thunder have won a couple more games than the Mavericks, and Thunder have made the play-ins and the Mavericks haven't. But I think the Mavericks sort of fell off after February. Luka wasn't playing as good as he normally does. I don't think Kyrie was playing as many games, and I just think they've got the superstars. They can just pull games out and win it simply because they've got Luka and Kyrie. So I'm going to put them in play-ins and see if I move them later on. We've got the Grizzlies there. Ja Morant's got like a 20-game suspension. They picked up Marcus Smart. They've got Desmond Bane, who I still think is underrated. They've got Triple J, one of the best defenders. They've got a bunch of guys who can just step in and play their role. And I think even though Ja's missing like 20 games, they can get enough wins and get them to the first round, which is going to be important for them. Okay, another team I've just moved in is the Miami Heat. They've lost Max Strus, who's gone to the Cavs. They've lost somebody else who was important, but the important thing to them is that Tyler Hero has came back from his injury. I think he can improve even more from what he's been, and I think the motivation will still be there for the Heat to just do whatever they want and go far and prove people wrong. But in my eyes, they get to the play-in and maybe they slightly lose to one of the other teams, or they'll make the playoffs and they just lose in the first round, which is, I could move them up here, but it's hard to see if they beat any of these teams when it comes to the play-in yet. Look at it right now. Unless they catch fire again, their team is going to stay in this spot. I've decided to move the Hawks into first round exit. I think they come back and forth every season on where their team places. I think Trae Young goes up and down in his points. I think John Collins went to the Jazz, if I'm not wrong. But I still think there's some group of guys there that can win games. And I could swap them with one of these other teams, but I think at the moment, actually, I might swap them with the Knicks, simply because of who the Knicks have on the roster. Timberwolves are also going in the play-ins. They made their last season and then they won, and then they played the Lakers. I think the Lakers won. No, that was the play-in game. The Lakers played them in the play-in, and the Timberwolves lost. But I still think Anthony Edwards is the guy leading them, and he will improve. But I don't think the rest of the team gels like the teams above them. Like the Grizzlies have got guys who play the same way. Same with the Kings. The Mavericks are on that level where they need those stars to play like they do, and the rest of the guys below them can't have off nights, otherwise it's not looking good for the team. Same reason with the Pelicans, like I said with the superstars thing. Zion misses too many games. Brandon Ingram has been injured here and there. But they've actually got guys who can play their role. Like the Kings, like the Grizzlies, they've got that like grit and grind defense about them. But I think just the quality of those backup guys is a little lower than the Grizzlies and the Kings. Maybe they could move up throughout the season, but I think there's not a guaranteed about Zion playing that many games. So right now I'm putting them in the play-ins. Same reason with the Clippers. Kawhi misses a lot of games. Paul George plays really well, I think, by himself, and he's always got that uniqueness about his dribbling, and he's hard to guard. Russ is a good fit for their team. Same again, like that grit and grind mentality about these teams from the West. But I think those guys outside of the top 7, maybe 6, can't really compare to the players on the other teams, and that's why I'm putting them in the play-ins. Okay, so I've looked through it and I think I can move the Heat up to first round exits, and then move one more team into play-in out of these 3, the Magic, Wizards and the Raptors. And I think just for development, I think maybe the Magic. Now the guys on the Raptors, they kind of all play the same. It's a bit of a meme, like they've got the same guy again and again each season, but I just don't think they have that guaranteed superstar factor about them. And that's with all these teams in the lottery. And the NBA has become so good that these teams in the play-in, some of them now have superstars. But I just think, even with the Wizards, they've lost players. They've added some young players back, but I don't think they're good enough. And this is where I think they will finish. I'm pretty sure this is how I think it will go. Now, it never happens like what people say, so I'll come back in a year or whatever, and this will be completely different. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and see you later.